so little by little, I started to, instead of painting, because I didn't have a studio, I started to write titles of poems. After a while, I had about 40 titles, I think, of different poems that I wanted to either put in a form of an actual poem or make a painting out of it. And one day, I got my studio. Finally, I got my studio downtown, between downtown and Hollywood in Los Angeles. And I started painting. At first, I was painting those little titles of poems. And it was fun because I could pick out a title that I came up with some month ago and go, oh, okay, how would that look like? What is that? What could that be like? And finally, I had maybe about 7 or 8 of those little acrylic paintings. When I saw one of the titles said, Understanding Understatement. So it was a play on words and kind of, puzzling to me. And I thought, okay, let's try that. So I began with, maybe I can even draw this since we have these things. It's very simple. I began with straight line as something that means a thought. To me, it meant a thought, a decisive thought that goes straight. And then there were other thoughts that were going like this, and maybe like that, and like this, and they're all kind of straight, and so on. And I thought, oh, these are thoughts, so this would be like, these thoughts, it's understanding. That's, symbolic to me, that's what I thought of. And then I did a little shading on the side, here and there, and here, and I just did the little shading and in the corners, and that shading was an emotional context of these decisions, these thoughts. So I was just into it, painting it, and putting different colors, and just simply creating my painting, when suddenly, while I was really focused and looking at that painting, something incredible happened. The painting outgrew everything that I knew. I don't know if it's something, if I'm saying it the way that you can get, but something happened that suddenly all the knowledge that I had about art and from the times when I started painting, all that I knew, all that I've learned, disappeared in the much bigger picture. And that picture was of maybe this kind of imagery, but somehow it just outgrew my painting and everything I knew about art altogether. And I found myself in a different space. And it was abstract space. And I realized that exhilarating, incredible sphere, is giving me all this information that I just never thought I would get. It was not specific information, but it was just like you just get a download of something that makes you feel so good. It was so bright. It was so exhilarating. It was just the space that I got it. Yes, this is the space of concepts. these concepts are alive, and they are there all the time, and they are creating the rest of it. So the concepts are actually becoming reality, but the stage that I saw at that moment was still a conceptual stage of, you name it, life, experience, truth, whatever you think it could be. But this was a huge breakthrough for me, and very hard to explain to anyone else. And since then, I started to work on that kind of work. I started to work abstract.